In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at this rod and reel combination I've got with me. I've got the Daiwa Emblem rods and the Daiwa 20 Crosscast 35 SCW QD reels. There's one thing Daiwa does very well, it's giving people like me a very hard time pronouncing their names. Let's get into it. So this rod and reel combo that I'm using today, I actually used last week as well. I went out fishing on a little lake down near Weymouth and I managed to have a few small little commons. So I was able to give these rods a bit of a test, but hopefully if I catch something on this overnighter before I leave tomorrow morning, I'll be able to put them through a much bigger test because the fishing here are quite substantially bigger. But before we jump fully into the video, it's worth noting that you can win this set of reels for free. All you got to do is stick around to the end and I'll tell you exactly how to do so. But subscribing and liking this video plays a big part in it, so do that now. How much do they cost? Now normally I start with that point at the very end because I give you all the details first, but that's one of the good selling points of these things is they're not going to break the bank. Starting off with the reels, they're coming in at £99.99 RRP, and then the rods range from £125, which is for the 10-foot rod, all the way up to £150, which is for the either the 12-foot 4.5-pound spod rod or the 13-foot 3.5-pound test curve rod. The ones I've got with me today are the 3-pound version, and they come in at £135. How does this setup actually perform? Now, as I said, I used these last week on a very small water, smaller than this in fact, and it was very close quarter cast in, but lovely balance, a good nice flick in the tip. It's a 3-pound 𝗙ecie rods, the ones I've got with me. Absolutely perfect for smaller venues, just underarms or little overarm flicks, no problems, but you can still give them the beans if you need to. Now, where I'm fishing today, it's not a big water, but some of the casts I'm making are a bit more of a whack, and I'm using solid bags, so probably around the 4.5 ounce limit, maybe, yeah, probably around the 4 mark, I'd say. And I'm not casting too far. I mean, the left-hand rod is just going over to the far tree line, and it was perfect to get it in there. Not minimal effort really. Accuracy was lovely, so managed to cast in just enough forgiveness in the tip that you can feel exactly what's going on when you're leading around and things, and also when playing fish, but there's enough backbone in those rods to fling out your setup a fair distance. The right-hand rod is even further down that bank, and again, a good old whack with a solid bag, went down nicely, and you can see on the slow-mo, when I hit the clip, you can see that the tip's fairly forgiving, so I'm not pinging that back, softening that cast in and landing it perfectly, and then the right one was just a little flick as well. But as I said, these are the 3-pound version. You can go all the way up to 3.5 in the 12-foot. You can also get a 13-foot 3.5-pound version as well, which is going to be your bigger casting rod, which I think is rated up to about 165 yards. But I wouldn't say if you're fishing 180 plus sort of thing, they probably aren't the rods for you, but for most venues in the UK, these will stand you in good stead wherever you go. And having a balanced setup is ideal as well. So moving on to the reel, now these are the 20 Crosscast 35 SCW QD, as I said at the start. Now the SCW is the one you want to listen out for there in relation to how these perform with casting, because SCW stands for slow cross wrap. That is how the line is delivered or laid down on the spool when you're winding in. It means the line doesn't bed into itself because it's not such a shallow because sometimes you get really slow oscillation reels, which looks fantastic and looks nice, but you might find the line starts digging in. This has got the right balance of slow oscillation and line lay, that it doesn't bed in, it crosses across the layer below it. Now that in turn relates to how easily the line flies off the spool. Now these are long cast spools, 35mm as well, so that in combination with the way the line's laid down means that you get very little resistance casting out. I've got 15-pound line spooled up on here at the moment, and the distances I'm fishing at the moment aren't that far. I keep getting the odd liner on that rod, so that's why I bolted up right then, because that could be anything from a double to a 40. But yeah, that's basically the how the combination of the rod and reel, they balance nicely, and weight-wise as well. It's another big thing that often isn't talked about, is how it all feels in the hand. The weight balance with the rod and the reel is just right. You don't feel like it's top heavy or reel heavy. It's a real nice all-round feel. Remember, if you like this sort of content, then please do subscribe to us and ring the bell icon to not miss any future uploads, and also follow us on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter for regular updates. So I've talked about these in relation to how they cast, but how do they actually bring things back in? Now, just bringing your lead back in, your rig back in, if you're fishing at great distances, you don't want something that takes a long time to crank it back in. But these are 4.9 to 1 ratio, which in easy terms is 103 centimeters of line. So you're cranking in over a meter of line per rotation of the spool, which is a pretty damn good retrieval rate. Now, I only used these rods on short range last week and short range now, so it just makes it a breeze. But if you are fishing at longer range, that would be nice and easy to bring the fish back in, or just your lead if you're not fortunate enough to cast. Now, I also had a few fish last week, as I mentioned, and they didn't fight terribly hard. A very shallow lake, very cold. Where it's so shallow, it was actually already freezing overnight, so the fish were already very lethargic. But when I was playing the fish, I could feel everything they were doing, every little lunge. Even though they were smaller fish, I could feel exactly what they're doing, and had plenty of power to bring them in if needed, which thankfully I didn't. It's a very clear lake, but if I did need to bully them out of some kind of pads or snags, I'd have been absolutely fine to do so. But Daiwa did send over some footage of a carp that was caught whilst they were using these rods. I can't remember the exact size of it, but as you can see, an impressive capture, and it just shows what these rods are capable of doing. So whether you're fishing on small, little intimate venues in the UK or going on bigger waters with very big fish, these rods will cope no matter where you go. How do these actually look? Well, black and more black. So if you like the understated look, then these are for you. Starting off with the handles, right down at the base, we've got a black cap. Following up from that, we've got the shrink wrap handle, nice grip in the hand, and you've got a little bit of gloss black whipping before you get to the reel seat with some more matte black and really dull, almost grey black. Then you've got a tiny little section more of the shrink wrap before gloss black, then matte black, and a fairly low gloss finish all the way up. Even the emblem on this side is made with a really subtle gloss black, but in certain lights really hard to see. Eyes are black, the whippings around the spigot and the eyes are all black, so very understated. Carries on over onto the reels as well. You've got a rubberized black handle with gloss black handle, and all the rest is pretty much the same combination of matte blacks, slightly gloss black, and really understated with the graphics and the logo in. So if you like that sort of look where it's not flashing logos all over the place, then these probably are right up your street, because they look nice and simplistic and smart. And now for some real specifics on what you can expect to achieve from these rods. Now, this will also give you an idea of what's available in the range, starting off with the 10-foot 3-pound model. Now that says you can cast probably up to around the 90 yards mark, so perfect for smaller venues like this. I could have easily got away with a 10-foot 3-pound on this session, but the 12-foot models, for those of you that just always like the feel of a 12-foot, you're used to that, then you can, of course, go for that. Now there's two carp rods in the 12-foot range. You've got a 3-pound and 3.5, and they can cast respectively of 130 yards and 150 yards. So the ones I've got with me today in the right hands would do 130 yards, and that's recommended 4 ounces leads and 5 ounce leads respectively. And then if you go up to the 13-foot 3.5, so now this is your all-out distance casting rod. Again, that recommends up to the weight of 5 ounce leads or 5 ounce weights, and that can cast of up to about 165 yards. I'm sure in the right hand you can do that, perhaps even more. And then of course at the end you've got the 12-foot spod rod. Now this is a 12-foot 4.5 pound, and that can cast anything up to 12 ounces. So as you know, that's going to be for your spod fishing, spod casting, spodding. So there we go, the Daiwa Emblem rods and the 20 Crosscast 35 SCW QD. Yes, I got it right. As I said at the very start of the video, you can win these reels, and all you have to do is the following. Subscribe, number 1. Hit the bell icon, number 2. That way you don't miss any future uploads from us, you'll be notified. 3, like this video, and number 4, comment below on why you think you should win these reels. And that is it. You were then entered into the competition to win these reels. Also, keep your eyes peeled on the competitions page on the website, because these rods will also be available to win in a couple of months' time. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.